Hi, I'm Tammy from Insight HR. Welcome to our social media policy training session on the must-haves for dealing with Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, all the social media in your business, in particularly with productivity issues. So if you walk into any business these days, you'll see that someone has got Facebook open, even if it's minimised on their computer. It just seems to be part of life these days. And what do we do about this constant interruption? It interrupts our thinking and our workflow to have something open the whole time. I've been recently listening to a lot of productivity experts because it's a particular area of interest of mine, and they're complaining about email being an issue. It's constantly there, it interrupts the workflow, the productivity of people, so much so that a group of Sony managers have developed a policy and put it into place at Sony where they won't open their email at night. As soon as they leave work, that's the end of their email. And they've said that if it's really important, you need to phone that person, and they've put it in policy and it's in place now, and they've found that not many phone calls come through. So they're really valuing not having that interruption in their lives. So if email's that bad, Facebook's got to be taken to that whole next level. It's just you get messages through on anyone that's commented on a thread that you've commented on, and it's just constantly there. People just check it all the time. So it can be a bit of an issue in your business. I'm interested in this from a HR perspective and obviously from productivity. So how does that constant checking of Facebook impact on productivity and people's thought patterns? And a Melbourne radio station recently did a bit of a fun study on a couple of people who were Facebook addicts. And one of the young girls, she was a school-aged person, and they said you can't have Facebook, can't log in for 24 hours. And by 2 hours into the study, she was just beside herself. She said she would have normally checked her Facebook 20 times. She felt completely left out of what was going on in her social group, and she basically couldn't cope. She was really addicted to Facebook. And if it has that potential, then there are obviously different degrees of how people will cope with Facebook, but it has that potential to just be this constant pull that you must have a look at it all the time, and that will interrupt workflow in your business. One of my clients has dealt with it where they've had staff openly having Facebook up on their computers, and at the same time people putting in overtime requests. It just doesn't make any sense. You shouldn't need overtime if you have time in your day to spend Facebooking. So social media is a big problem, and it's only going to get worse, so we need to deal with this proactively. At the other extreme, when I was doing my social media research, I came across an organisation that says a blanket ban on the internet and mobile phones, and they also don't want people to talk in the staff room too much and get too friendly with each other. Works about work. Now that is the absolute other extreme, and there's obviously some happy medium in there, but it's interesting different ways that companies are dealing with this. So there are three things to think about when you're deciding on your own social media policy, and that is, what is an acceptable level of social media to have in your business? The second thing is, does social media help your business? Because if it does, if you've got a sales area and they rely on their LinkedIn and Facebook to keep promoting your business, then it's hard to turn around and say, no, you can't use social media. So just be careful of the messages that you're sending there. Finally, are there any underlying issues in performance that if Facebook wasn't there, you would probably be dealing with performance issues anyway? So you need to take that into account as well. If they're spending too much time on Facebook, it may just be they don't understand their work, they don't have enough work to do, and there's productivity and performance issues you need to deal with anyway. But some companies are actually allowing 1 hour of social media time per day, and I have a particular issue with this, having done my productivity research, in that what the productivity specialists say is when you get your break time, whether that's your lunch break or afternoon tea, you need to move away from your desk. Checking email is not relaxation time. They prefer you to get out and get some sunshine or have a little walk just to break the pattern of activity, and then you'll come back much more refreshed. So if you're going to give 1 hour of social media time, I'm tipping it's going to be in the lunch break. And is that really going to make your workforce more productive, or is it just going to get them hooked in to want more of the social media during the day? So that's an issue that I have. With our social media policy that we have available on the HR Shed and HR Intranet, we actually state that the company, our client, does not allow the internet to be used for anything other than business purposes. That might seem a bit harsh, but if you don't lay down the law initially, it's quite hard to go backwards from there. So if you really don't want social media in your business, say that you don't let it occur in your business, and then you've got something to fall back on. If people are going to extremes, you might turn a blind eye to those who aren't going to extremes and just occasionally will check their Facebook at lunchtime. But if your policy is really there to deal with those people who take things to the nth degree and test you on it. So you might be best to have that no social media is allowed in the business. Other things to think about is music streaming, people listening to the radio via their computer. It can take up a lot of bandwidth and slow down the efficiency of computers for people, and also can be quite annoying to other team members. So they're things to include in your internet and email policy, and definitely things to think about. But if you've got a problem with productivity and Facebook, definitely look at the performance issues to start with, because I'm tipping that the high performers, the ones that know how to do their job, they're clear on the expectations and they deliver, aren't the ones that you're having the Facebook problem with. So if you've enjoyed this video, why not share it? I'm sure there's a million people out there still having problems with their social media policy and what it might be. Feel free to share it around, and if you want to join us again for our next training video, it's on drug and alcohol policies and what you can and can't do.